You are now tuned into the sounds of
Big Nate Sports Talk.
It's on all the time, anytime.
Tuned in to Big Nate Sports Talk, the show that is on all the time, anytime. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the next big thing, the latest up-and-coming sports journalist, your host, Nathan Snell.
Cut it off! I am having a very bad day. I'm in no mood. This, today, is one of the worst days that I've had in a long time. I'm not in the mood to play with anybody. I mean, damn it. I'm ticked off.
This is what's great about sports. This is what the greatest thing about sports is. You play to win the game. Hello? You play to win the game. You don't play to just play it. That's the great thing about sports. You play to win. And I don't care if you don't have any wins. You go play to win. When you start telling me it doesn't matter, then retire. Get out. Because it matters.
Now, if you want to crown them, then crown their ass. But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
This is how I believe, okay? I'm from the old school. I believe this. I would rather play with 10 people and just get penalized all the way until we got to do something else, rather than play with 11 when I know that right now that person is not sold out to be a part of this team. It is more about them than it is about the team. I cannot play with them, cannot win with them, cannot coach with them. Can't do it. I want winners. I want people that want to win.
What's that? Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game. Another game.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is your host, Nathan Snell of Big Nate Sports Talk Podcast. This is episode 5, season 17 of the podcast. And in this episode, we are painfully recapping that dreck that occurred, the Washington Commanders versus the New York G-Men. Before we get into that, there's a few things I want to say up front. You should already have seen episodes 1, 2, 3, and 4 already up. Please continue to support the channel. I greatly appreciate it. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Episode 6 and 7 will include a couple things. Maryland recapping their win against Syracuse. And then we're getting ready to go to Cancun. And I have a very special guest joining me on that episode, so stay tuned. Let's and we're also recapping Maryland football. And then also the men's basketball team as they so graciously ever defeated UNBC. But let's just get right into it. The Washington Commanders got embarrassed by the New York G-Men 31-19.
What was that? What the hell was that? I'm sorry the H words and the D words aren't appropriate over the airwaves, but it's going to be today. I don't know how much more of this I can take. How in God's name?
The Washington Commanders now fall to 4-7 on the year. Where do I begin? On the first 6 plays for Washington, we turned the ball over twice. Logan Thomas, especially, he fumbled on our second possession, which they took over possession at near midfield. 4 plays later, Tommy DeVito gave Saquon Barkley a touchdown pass, which marked the first time they scored a touchdown in the first quarter all season so far. This is a Giant team that does not have Daniel Jones, get well soon, Darren Waller, and also Darius Slayton went out with injury. This is the same New York Giant team that have lost 3 straight in 2 games where they've lost a combined by 56 points. Here's a third-string quarterback who was completely overmatched, getting their butt whooped by Dallas. And this was the complete opposite. They took advantage of the 6 turnovers and shouldn't have got that ahead. Let me just stay on the offense. Their defense, I feel bad for Sam Howell. He's, I believe, at 51 sacks on the year. He's on pace to be sacked 100 times. When you watch them the first time, he was sacked 6 times against New York in their 14-7 loss. This week, he was sacked 4 times, and especially against a former Raven defensive coordinator, Wink Martindale, whose defense has allowed 79 points in the last 2 weeks. I mean, his defense looked stouted out there. I mean, offensively, we couldn't even stay on the field in the first half. There were 3 early 3-and-outs, especially with the 2 turnovers. There was a couple hits he had to take, especially there was the best drive of the game of the half with the 7-yard touchdown going into halftime. Yeah, I mean, sure, you could say Sam Howell wasn't sharp, but that offensive line was not sharp. I have a problem. I'm not going to call him out, but I think this is important to bring up. Kayvon Thibodeau had said something to Charles Leno, practically psyched him out, and saying, "Thank you for giving me 2 sacks today." And he has 10.5 sacks so far in the season, 2, and he blew by Charles Leno. I mean, were there mistakes that Sam made? Sure. But again, I think, and this is where growth matters. I felt as though at times Sam does too much. And I agree with Sean Spencer, Will Kramer, and especially Sean Spencer, who's watched him in North Carolina. He does tend to do too much. He does now say, okay, now I have to do more for my team to try to get them out of this. And some of that, I think he has to break that habit of. But more importantly, it didn't help that we didn't make any adjustments on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, just for example, he overthrew Diami Brown on that deep shot in the first quarter, which was a pick, painfully. And then the second in the second quarter, he threw a pass that bounced off the chest of their safety. Yeah, I mean, there was one he threw in that was in the flat to Isaiah Simmons, and that sealed our fate offensively. Um, I mean, I other than the defense, the defensive line, I mean, I'm gonna give him a B, and that's on a curve. Shout out to Sean since he had us on the show Sunday, and his name's Alex. I think his name's Alex Stevens. He gave him an A. I'm grading it on a curve because nobody else showed up defensively. Especially a defense that doesn't have Montez Sweat and Chase Young. This is the same New York Giants team that has allowed 54 sacks in 10 games. Didn't have Evan Neal, who's out with injury. And I mean, yeah, they got 5 sacks in the first quarter. I think that's the first team in 17 years to do that. We can handle that stat. Especially David Mayo and KJ Henry on their New York's first drive. And then St. Juice and Deron Payne, they got it. They got in there. Especially Deron Payne, that was his first sack since week 2. And then there was the fumble, and especially in the second half where Byron Pringle fumbled the ball, and they recovered it. And Casey Toothill and Jonathan Allen, they were responsible for the 7th and 8th sack, and then especially that 8th sack that took him out of field goal range. So I mean, finished 9 sacks on the day, but it wasn't enough. And especially when we were not pressuring Tommy DeVito, we got embarrassed, especially on the big plays. I mean, they had 6 different players for 7 plays that had 20 plus yards in their first time they met us, especially in the first quarter where Saquon Barkley, I think it was a 24-yard touchdown, and then Darius Slayton on the third, I think it was on the 3rd and 13. He got hurt, and then he missed the second half of the arm injury, but he on one play, Kendall Fuller, who I don't know what the hell he was thinking on that play. I mean, he lunged on a 40-yard touchdown catch, and that gave the Giants a 14-3 lead. DeVito finished on the day 18 for 26, 246 yards, and 3 touchdowns. They had 0 yards rushing on 8 carries before that 36-yard run by Saquon in the third quarter. Chris Rodriguez he fumbled, especially in field goal range. We were down 2. And then Daniel Bellinger for the Giants, if I remember correctly, he also gave them the 21-12 lead. And then, as painfully so, the biggest thing is the turnovers. I mean, we had a chance to win this game, and when I looked at the stats, we ran 23 more plays and had 111 more yards, and it should not have come down to the last minute. I mean, when you have 3 fumbles that are resulting of guys trying to fight for extra yards, like I said, Logan Thomas had the ball popped out of his hand. Byron Pringle left his hands back at the hotel, and Chris Rodriguez fumbled after breaking a tackle on the 35-yard line. Like those things, I can't defend that. Like we gotta hold guys accountable on that, and especially like, Sam, I can appreciate he took accountability. He said he overthrew it, he put too much air in it, but I don't know. It's really, really frustrating because we should have beaten this team. Like on paper, this team should have been beaten. I mean, the run defense. I looked back at film, I couldn't find it. I mean, just in the third quarter, they had for the Giants up until the third quarter, those last few 40 seconds, they had 0 rushing yards. That's the first time that's happened since their existence as a franchise. And especially the first play after Chris Rodriguez fumbled, that's when Saquon broke. I mean, they barely didn't run the ball until like the last 15, 16 minutes of the game. And then what did they do? They attacked the edges of our defense and then went back to it. I mean, Saquon finished with 83 yards on 13 carries. And it's interesting, those two final scoring drives, they had 114 yards. And all of it came what? Running the football. Yes. I mean, we did not put ourselves in the best position to win, but this falls on coaching. It also falls on the players. Like, it's just been a season of inconsistency and just lack of accountability. And then again, like this, for me, like the offense, as I said earlier, it's a problem. Like you can't be giving up, especially to their front four. You can't give up that many sacks. I mean, Sam, I should have said this earlier, but I'm going to say this. I think he was better, Sam, at avoiding in the backfield, avoiding hits in the backfield compared to the last matchup. He was definitely more mobile in the pocket. I did see that, particularly on the first touchdown. But I mean, the 4 sacks, that's just the offensive line not doing its job to protect him. And I feel as though the last 2 sacks just were on back-to-back plays in the fourth quarter. And that can't happen. And we did take valuable seconds off the clock, which would have been very, very beneficial trying to score. And I mean, at this point, I'm done with them. I'm getting ready to throw the right. I've thrown the white flag. I can't. This team, they suck. I'm sorry. It's a reality. I mean, we're now 0-3-1 against the New York G-Men. This was probably the most disappointing loss because you didn't have Daniel Jones, you didn't have Darren Waller, and this is a defense who was torched by a third-string quarterback who looked like the second coming of Dan Marino.
I mean, this is some bad stuff. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to say. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know how much more of this I can take. I just don't know. This is ridiculous. Oh, Lord.
I mean, the only thing I can say is this, because it's a short week for us because we're getting ready to play on Thanksgiving. We just got to get ready for Dallas. I feel like that Ron said it in the post. This was a low point. Brother man, that low point has been like this pretty much all season. There is no low point. At this point, the ship has it's just listed on starboard and port side. We got to get it back to Port Saints. And especially I feel like we have to go up against several playoff contenders and we can't. There's got to be some type of, okay, this is what we got to do to just get ready for Dallas, because we're going up against a Dallas team the last 4 or 5 times have just beaten us, especially when they play at home. I think it's like 160-50. So I am not looking forward to that game. So like I said, it just got to I don't know. I really, really don't know what to really feel right now. I'm being honest. I really haven't recovered at all from this. This hurt. It stung because I feel as though there were just so many, I feel like, expectations coming into the season, new ownership and all that different things like that. We talked about this on Sean Spencer on that show Sunday, and this team does not represent that. There's a lack of accountability. Like, it doesn't matter. Nobody showed effort. Like, I don't know how I would walk into a locker room knowing we got outplayed by a third string quarterback, knowing for 3 quarters our run defense was okay, and then for all of a sudden it ran out of steam. Our offensive line can't protect their quarterback. I mean, where does the accountability take place from players, coaches? Like, that's what I'm talking. Like, there's no leader with this team. I just see a bunch of just a bunch of guys just put in the locker room, just go out there and just try to win games as best you can. And that's not what a team looks like. A team, especially when they're trying to win a championship, you got guys that hold each other accountable. You have coaches that are not afraid to take accountability, and you have coaches that don't stand on the sideline. Because look, I'm gonna keep it real. Ron, as I think Ron Rivera, from a leader perspective, is a guy. He's changed the culture, and I'm appreciative of that, what he's done. But it is time to move on from him. This game was it. Me personally, this is just how I feel. This is just not with him. This is in general. I am not a fan of firing coaches in the middle of a season. That coach started with the team. He will end with the team. At the end of the season, fire him. Only reason because I say that because nothing really changes except, well, now this guy's head coach. Now, I'm curious to see what it looks like, for example, in Oakland, now that Antonio Pierce is the head coach. But it's not just like with Ron. Come on now. I mean, I still think they have I think they still have an outside shot making the playoffs. But I mean, to lose to a divisional rival by 32 points the week before, man, that shit is embarrassing. Like, and again, like, and this is where I kind of I stand by this. I wish Eric Bieniemy would have stayed in Kansas City, because I feel as though he would have been the head coach once Andy Reid stepped down. That's my personal opinion. Because if he's the head coach, we have to give him time. Because what does he have to work with? Like, next year, like, sure, we got the salary cap, all those things, but we're gonna have to really get some people in here from front office, coaching staff that actually want to win games. I mean, man, like this. I'm telling you, I really don't even really want to watch this Thursday night game for Thanksgiving. I don't, because I feel like that's going to ruin my mood. It really is. I mean, other than that, on the Giants side, it's going to be interesting to see how they kind of look. I think Tommy DeVito looked pretty good. And again, Tyrod Taylor was out due to injury. So I mean, he's not a long-term answer at backup quarterback Tyrod Taylor for them. I think for Daniel Jones, I still think he'll be fine. Personally, I just think that I look at this Giants season, for example. I feel like they didn't get really any better. They kind of just stayed content. The only really piece I say that stayed the same addition was Darren Waller. Like, other than that, they didn't really address getting a wide receiver. And that's something they can address next year. They need to work on the offensive line. I think they got the piece. I think they got some pieces they can work with. But I just feel like it's just stale. It hasn't gotten better with New York. And man, like, I mean, congratulations to the New York Giants, but man, like, that just let's get into the sponsor, because I'm not looking forward to this. Producers, please help me. We're going to get into the sponsor of Big Nate Sports Talk podcast. Thank you. And it's Big Nate, Zagnif Apparel, that is the sponsor of Big Nate Sports Talk podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, do you want to dress like you're already famous? You can, and you will, with Zagnif Apparel.
The following is a presentation of Zagnif Productions, LLC. Introducing Zagnif Apparel.
Our comfortable line of leisure wear and athletic wear will have you comfortable and stylish at any occasion. Whether you're at the gym, out shopping, or just relaxing at home. Whether you're an athlete or just want to lay around the house, we've got the perfect outfit for you. Stop by our website today and pick up your favorite pieces. Zagnif Apparel. Dress like you're already famous.
You can and you will dress like you're already famous with a nice 15% off using my discount code of your final purchase, Big Nate, for 50% off. Thank you. And we're so graciously and graciously in gratitude for Zagnif Apparel for being a sponsor of Big Nate Sports Talk Podcast. Producers, just cue the commercial break. We'll be right back. We're back, and after we got to commercial, I forgot to mention after our loss, which was at home, it was reported that the New York G-men and the Washington Commanders couldn't take hot showers because of poor piping, and so they couldn't shower, which is another failure. And just letting you know how old FedEx is as a stadium. For leaky pipes and watching fans fall out their seats, collapse railings. Remember that game with the Eagles, Jalen Hurts, and then watching sewage leak off. Oh my God! I'm starting to get a headache. So that's what happened Sunday. They couldn't resolve the matter, so they had to shut the water off. And that to me, Ron, is a low point. When I can't even take a hot shower after getting my ass kicked by a team that we should have beaten, that's a low point.
I want you to understand. Don't ask me. And they have normalized this bullshit.
Let's just, oh my God. Washington plays Dallas, and I'm not looking forward to this at all. The last time we saw them, especially on the holiday game, like Thanksgiving, I think it was Christmas, and we got our ass whooped. I'm not looking forward to this. We play the Dallas Cowboys on the road. We lost the last time. Oh my gosh. I don't even know where to start. I mean, the back in January they beat us 26-6. And this one we're trying to I think we got to play them a couple down the stretch. After again, it's just a short week. We have to regroup and just try to, dig deep. As the great Al Davis, may he rest in peace, just win. Just win, baby. Something. I there has to be some spark of hope, um, especially now a fourth straight loss in 5 games. Um, Now we're 12th in the NFC playoff picture, and now going up against Dallas, my goodness, this should be a very interesting game. When you look at Dallas, they're 7-3 on the year. Uh, they are sixth in passing. They're 12th rushing the ball. As a cohesive unit, as a scoring offense, they're second. They average almost 30, practically 30 points a game. And defensively, they're fifth. Dak Prescott so far in the year has thrown 19 touchdowns and 6 picks. He has been sacked well over 22 times, if I'm remembering that correctly. Tony Pollard is their leading rusher with 590. He's almost 10 yards away from the 600 mark. And then their defense is just something else. Boy, oh boy. Where do I start? I really think it starts with our defense. You've got to take something away from Dallas. You got to take away the pass. Like our defensive line did great. Did a decent job against a New York team that didn't have Daniel Jones, but I'm curious to see what it looks like now against this. I feel like this could be a trap game for Dallas. But if I shouldn't, if I'm Dallas, to me this is a much needed win. Even if they're 7-3 on the year, I mean they could use this win. I don't think personally. There's no. I don't have any concerns with Dallas. My only concern is when they come playoff time. I feel like with Dak Prescott, I think he gets too much flack, and I feel as though Mike McCarthy at times does not get held accountable the way Dak does. But I understand it because they have been a good team. Especially watching them, even though they've had their moments, especially losing to Arizona. We would hope not to see that again, and they're at home, so. For me, the biggest thing is our offense. Sam Howell leads the league in passing yards, completions, and attempts. For me, for his first start actually was against Dallas, and he outplayed Dak. He threw for a buck 169, 1 touchdown, and an interception, and he also ran the ball. So they know that he's capable of putting up numbers. And we're going against one of the best secondaries in the game. They hold quarterbacks to a pass rating of less than 80, and their 11 interceptions are the fourth best in the league. And no other team throughout the conference is allowing fewer passing yards than Dallas. They're going to get to him. We're going to have to really emphasize pass protection on Sam Howell. For me, I think, especially going up against a line that has Michael Parsons, Deron Bland, and the rest of those guys, it's going to be a game trying to contain them. I really like to see what we look like running the ball. For me, I think that's going to be key. I think running the ball and doing those things, I think will be better. I think we'll be okay. But for the most part, I'm not really expecting much because we already have 3 players that are out. Emmanuel Forbes is out. Alex Amara is out, and James Smith Williams is out, and Antonio Gibson and Cakeley Hudson are questionable. So I'm not already liking our chances, but we should. It's going to be interesting. I'm just not looking forward to this game. I really don't even know what to expect. I don't. I mean, coming at the win against Carolina, they sacked Bryce Young 7 times. Michael Parsons had a career high. He already has 10 sacks in the year. Oh my gosh. This is a team that, like I said, they're capable of scoring. I don't see much with them at all. I think you got to, like I said, I think the only key is you got to just come out aggressive. I think you got to have a mixture of running the ball. You got to limit the turnovers. You got to try to, force them to make turnovers. You got to try something. But for the most part, I don't see Washington winning this game. I don't. I think no. Washington. I just don't see it. We just don't have the personnel to keep up with them for 60 minutes, and they're at home, and painfully, I'm going to say that team in Dallas will upset Washington. I'm going to say 37-14. I'm not putting a guarantee on that. I'm not. Yeah, that's how I see it. I just think there's just so much that's against Washington, and yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. Because the more I say, the more my head starts to hurt. It's starting to just hurt more. So let's just get into the last part of our show. That's one final thought.
Thoughts are running through my mind. Someone took some time to find a minute or two to organize.
My one final thought is this team. This has been very disappointing. I think coming into this season, I overhyped myself, and I think others can agree with that. Instead, what I see is, while we have new ownership and all that stuff's great, but nothing changed in terms of personnel on the field. And especially when you're trying to win, you've got to put together a strong product. Like, for me, and I understand, and some of the criticism I understand on Sam is fair, but I feel like some of it's petty, especially like this is really his first year as a starting quarterback. Like, and again, this is his first year or offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy. Like, there just has to be changes, and I really, really hope, if anything, that some of these guys have learned something from this season so far. Because I'm not going to lie, after that game, I would not have given any of those players their check. I would not. I mean, that was embarrassing to watch. There was just a lack of, I guess, effort, a lack of accountability. I mean, I didn't see, like last year when Deron Payne and Jonathan Allen went at it on the bench. I didn't see that. Nobody got into no one's face. Nothing. Like, you let an opponent psych you out. That would bother me. Your head coach just, oh, okay. Like, and Jack Del Rio, look, won a ring with the Ravens back in 2000. Time's up too. I think he knows football, but these guys, the game's passed them by. I'm sorry. It's time. I mean, that's my one final. This season has just been disappointing. I'm throwing the white flag. I can't. I mean, I'll still watch the game, but I'm their playoff hopes went out the drain Sunday, and I can't. I can't. That's going to conclude this episode, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning into this episode painfully. And episode 6 will be the Maryland women's basketball team. Episode 7, our special guest, getting ready for the ladies as they go to Cancun. And then we'll recap the men. We'll do that over Thanksgiving, if not Friday. So until then, you guys enjoy the rest of your evening. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I will catch you all on the flip side. Peace. Stay up.
I know that loving me wasn't always easy. And you felt like walking away when you couldn't see me. Felt like all your hope was gone. But I'm right here on bended knee. Please be my wife and stay with me. Please take my hand through stormy weather. We will stay, yeah. Let me be the one to. When you need me, I'll be there. Just to let you know that I really, 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 really do care, yeah. Baby, I promise. Baby, I promise. I'll be right here for you. No matter the problem. No matter the problem, baby. I'll be by your side. 'Cause the love we share can never be denied. Denied.
Thank you for tuning in to Big Nate Sports Talk. If you enjoyed that episode, be sure to like, subscribe, and share the next big thing, the next up-and-coming sports journalist, Big Nate Sports Talk. It's on all the time, anytime.
I want to thank you, yeah. I want to thank you. Ooh. For all the times you put up with me. Thank you. And you helped me retain my sanity. Thank you. I want to thank you. And I want to thank you. All I want to do is say thank you for everything you do. Yeah.
These are legitimate questions. I don't have answers. I'm starving for answers. I'm starving for them because I don't have them. I'm so disgusted because I got to be out there at that game this Saturday. I got to see this. Inquiring minds want to know why. I truly do want to know why.
I mean, damn!
So when are we going to say something about it? You know what? I'm going to walk away. I'll be right back because I'm scared I'm going to say something that might get me in trouble because I'm pissed. I'm pissed. What the hell was that? I'm pissed off. Get it together. Y'all look like trash.
Skip. Good Lord. Thank the good Lord I am on FCC airwaves. I thank the good Lord. It's hard to take, man. I don't understand it. I don't understand how these dudes put themselves in this situation. I truly do not understand it. That's the kindest way I can put it. I think to go any further than that, Skip, I might lose it. I ain't gonna lie.
Okay.
I'm just not gonna lie to you.
I just don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. This is disgusting. It's disgraceful. It's embarrassing. And I'm ticked off. It don't make any sense. This is unacceptable. Unacceptable.
and something needs to be done about it. Quick, fast, and in a hurry. I'm going to reiterate my comments right here, right now. The clock is officially ticking. The honeymoon is over. Damn your feelings. Who gives a damn? You got a job to do. And the job ain't even a championship. It's to be respectable. And you can't even do that?
He didn't even try.
I can't defend that. What do you want